This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Burton had been brilliant over the first two phases, leading by convincing margins after both the dressage and cross-country. And when it came to his turn to jump, his lead was such that he could afford to have 4 fences down and still win, with 5 times Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials winner Andrew Nicholson on 53.2. That is exactly what he did, even knocking 2 of the last 3 fences down. However, victory for Burton was thoroughly deserved and gives him the biggest win of his career to date and follows on from his team bronze at the recent Rio Olympics. The best of the home challenge was Oliver Townend in 7th, and success too for Lincolnshire's Rosalind Cantor as she finished 25th in this, her second appearance at the event. Rupert Bell, Rutland Radio Sport.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Liz, we're here again, the end of the Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials. How do you think this year's event went?
I think it's been the most amazing event. It's had its highs, it's had its lows. As Christopher Burton said, it's fun when the sun shines. It wasn't quite such fun on Saturday morning when the rain was coming down, but we've had a wonderful event and a great winner.
Maybe not quite as much fun with the rain coming down, but what a competition we've had.
It's been quite incredible. I think yesterday was a very, very telling test. Even today's show jumping was, though. But to have someone that's led from beginning to end, it's quite incredible. And I'm so pleased. I think that to win the Land Rover Trophy on that basis has been superb.
There's been a brilliant family atmosphere, I feel, to the Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials this year. Added today in particular with like Nick Skelton and that fantastic reunion we've experienced.
I think Sunday today was one of the best Sundays we've had in the last 5 years or so. There's a real warmth about it. It was fun. We had a whole lot of riders who competed here in the very first World Championship held in 1961. They all came back for 50th reunion. As you say, Nick Skelton, it really added a depth of fun and warmth. It's been a great afternoon.
And despite the rain, the gates have been absolutely overflowing with people coming to visit us here at Burghley Park, and it's been as popular as ever.
I'm thrilled to bits. Thursday and Friday the weather was superb, so we were expecting it. The showground looked fantastic. Saturday, obviously, as you said, it was very wet, but we still had an exceptionally good crowd. And today, it's been really buzzing, and the sun's been out today. It's been the most beautiful day, and I'm so pleased.
And if I know you've already got your eyes on next year.
Yes, as I was walking away from prize giving, I was talking to our press officer saying, well, next year, and she stopped me straight away and said, let's just enjoy this year.
This is Rutland Radio.
So we're here with Nick Skelton. You know, the whole nation wants to give you the most massive hug. Do you know what I mean after your victory?
I know, it's amazing. Absolutely overjoyed, overwhelmed. It's been absolutely magnificent. I think it's something for the older generation that's really set it all going, and I'm really pleased. I hope it helps everybody get up and get motivated.
And here is the actual medal. May I actually...
Yep, sure.
Heavy. It is heavy.
It is, yeah.
Wow. What a huge thing it is, it really is. I know you're here on a photo call here, but, you know, what are your impressions of Burghley? You must have been here before, right?
No, actually, this is the first time, actually, but I'm really impressed, and it's great to come here for Land Rover. They do a lot for the sport, and to help them out is amazing. It's worth it.
Thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Really appreciate it.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So here we are at the end of the Land Rover Burghley Horse Trials, here with the pitmans of the George of Stamford, but not for much longer.
No, I'm afraid. We've been there many, many years, and we've loved the George, and this is our final Burghley. We will be there for Christmas and New Year, and then we've decided to retire. We'd like a little bit of time to ourselves.
Do you think when you took on the George, it's like taking on a national treasure almost, isn't it? I mean, who doesn't know the George in Stamford?
Well, it is a national treasure, and I'm exceptionally proud of it. And we've been there between the two of us for just under 90 years. So the affection that we will carry away with us will last us all our lives, and our hearts will always belong to the George, and I actually do mean that.
And going through those decades, you obviously had to evolve, do something maybe a little bit different, but still maintain the traditional coaching in that it always was. It was always that stop-off between London and York.
Yes, it was very difficult for me because I started off at the George. I've been a chef all my life, and then halfway through my career I took over as general manager, and that was a very big step, but Mary helped me along that way, but I think the hardest part was just giving everybody what they wanted, and I believe that's why it's been our success. We believe in saying yes to everyone, and then we sort it out afterwards.
Is there anyone and any guests that you remember particularly? Because anyone who's anyone seems to stay at the George when they come to this area.
Oh, well, every guest is very, very important. I think to answer your question, without dodging the question, everybody is different, and you meet such wonderful, wonderful people, so diverse from every walk of life, and that culminates in making everybody a personality. And I'm not dodging your question because everybody is like that. But if you're saying to me what is one of the highlights personally for me, it is Burley. It is wonderful, and I don't know anything about horses, and I don't pretend to, but to be here at Burley and have it in Stamford, all the riders who Chris and I have known personally over all those years, they all say the same thing. There is no event in the world, including the Olympics, the Worlds or the Europeans, that goes hand in glove, a hostelry with an event, i.e. Burley with the George Hotel.
How wonderful is that? And tell us about the presentation today.
Well,
the cakes here. Is the horse cake your creation?
Yeah, they are my creation. I started off doing that about 25 years ago, probably a little bit longer. It was when Remy Martin sponsored the horse trials, and I decided to make a presentation cake for Burley, and I made it in all the logo of Remy Martin. And I was going to serve it for afternoon tea, but the director of Remy Martin said to me, "No, you can't. Please, I want it up at the horse trials and you can present it to the winner." So we've done that tradition ever since. And about 18, 20 years ago, they said, "Well, what about the horse? You know, it's the horse that does the work." So I said, "OK, next year I'll make a horse cake."
What do you make it out of then?
Well, the owner of the George, she has a few horses, and she gives us all the food for it, and we mix it with that. When it was sponsored by Pedigree Pet Food, we had to make it out of Winnigan.
What an incredible story. I just feel really honoured to be talking to you here, because where would Stamford be without the George?
Well, the building says everything, doesn't it, for the area, and I'm so proud, so privileged to have been on this remarkable, epic journey. And yeah, it is the town, it is the building, and that's the wonderment of it, really, the building.
Chris Murray Pittman, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's a true honour to be here with you today at the horse trials.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for talking with us.
That is lovely. That's very kind. Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Violet, George, Scarlett, Ellie.
People call you Jeff?
Yeah.
Tell us about your first 2 days back.
It's been exciting meeting my new teacher because I'm new here.
And what about today's performance?
I'm quite new as well. I'm quite new. I didn't say I was new. I said I was quite new.
You've been to another school before?
Yeah, Gretton.
Oh, right, okay. And
I've been moved around a lot because I used to live in France.
Wow. You don't sound very French.
No.
Now, tell us about today's performance then. How was it?
Today's performance was amazing. I never knew this could happen in a very small school and in a very small town.
Did you recognise the two that were on stage here?
I knew Jasmine because my granddad started crying.
You did?
My dream was to shake their hands, literally.
Did it happen?
No. Sadly not.
But you said you recognised them?
Yeah. I don't mind it, but my mum watches it all the time, so I end up watching it, and I've seen all of them.
So how was your summer holidays?
Good. I went around to my friends and I tried new things.
Like?
I went to the beach and I went surfing.
You went surfing?
Yeah, basically bodyboarding.
What did you get up to over the 6 weeks?
Went to Great Yarmouth and then to France again.
I went to Rutland Water with my mum, my sister and her boyfriend.
And what did you get up to?
Me and my sister wrestled and she hurt my shoulder.
Oh, are you better now?
Yeah.
Good, you're looking well.
We went to watch Harry Potter, which is my brother's favourite thing in the whole entire world, and it was on a massive screen. It's probably bigger than a cinema screen, and it was outside, and we brought our deck chairs. We had a picnic. It was amazing.
Where was that?
Burley House.
Yeah, I was there, and you had Warwick Davis, didn't you? Actually, doing the bit of the. Were you there for that? Right at the beginning.
Yeah. We watched both of the movies, It's really amazing. Do you know Harry Bikers?
Yes.
What
about them?
I
Do you think he
shook
looks like
both of
that?
those hands.
Oh, right.
Because I saw them on the ferry.
Okay, so we're here at Lyfield Academy. Can I get your first names?
George. Georgia.
George and Georgia. How fantastic. Now, how was your summer holiday, first off?
Very good.
You get up to anything exciting?
Not much, but I went to my grandparents' house.
Is that quite a way away?
About 2 hours.
And did you do anything special?
We went to the zoo.
What about you?
I went to Greece.
And how was it?
It was amazing.
Very hot?
Yeah, super hot.
What was the best thing you did?
Probably going on a boat and looking down at the sea, because it was see-through.
And what about today's performance? How long ago did you know about that?
Not very long ago. I only just realised it today, but it was really nice, like watching everyone sing.
Did you know who they were?
Yes.
I knew everyone.
So they're really kind of famous people you've seen on telly, basically.
Yeah, I've seen Lyrical and Jasmine, so yeah, big surprise.
How did they do in front of you, do you think?
Really well.
Yeah, I like listening to the singing.
Has it inspired you maybe to do more music, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I play the saxophone, so yeah.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Lots of different notes.
More music, do you think?
Yes, a bit. I'm not really musical, but I try sometimes. So.
Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. And how's your first 2 days been then?
Good.
Do you wish every week was this long?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
This is Rutland Radio.
Jessica,
Eloise. Freya. Izzy. Benedict. Melanie.
And how is it being back at school, first off?
Well, it's fun to be back, but I never expected anything as amazing as this.
It is quite amazing, isn't it? This is your second day back, isn't it? And you get a free performance like that.
Yeah, it's really good.
What was your favourite part?
I liked all of it. It's like amazing how it's our second day and we've already got a visitor. It's just really amazing.
I really enjoyed Lyrical's beatboxing. That was the best bit.
Is that something maybe you'd like to do yourself in time?
No, not really.
No? It's quite an art, isn't it, actually, to be like that?
I was quite surprised when we got 2 people on our second day back to UCC.
And did you recognise them off the TV?
I only recognised Jasmine because I don't watch The Voice.
You're buzzing after that, aren't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was going to tell him another thing, that I'm in a band as well. Yeah, I'm a lead singer, lead guitarist of a band.
What's your band called then?
We're called Wild with an exclamation mark.
And how long have you been doing that?
About a year and a half now. We've got about 4 of our own songs, so if there's any record producers listening to this.
If you've got your own songs, we've got our local music slot on the radio on a Saturday. So was it actually seeing professionals do it today? Has that really been quite inspiring for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's kind of showed me, like, if I put 100% in, then how far it can really go. I mean, Lyrical's been trying to make it for years, clearly, and, you know, he's finally done it, and, you know, he could have given up a long time ago, but he didn't, and he carried on. And it's inspirational to see someone who's tried and tried again, and finally he's got his success.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Just tell me your name again.
Eddie Storer.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, this Thursday at the council offices in Oakham, you are invited to several public screenings, actually, of a film all about Kaylee Haywoods and her life and what happened to her, aged just 15. It's a film that police are very keen on as many people seeing as possible. Detective Inspector Simon Shuttleworth actually worked on the case. Tell us exactly what happened in a nutshell, Simon.
Kaylee Hayward was a 15-year-old schoolgirl who lived in Measham. And on October the 31st last year, she was contacted online on Facebook by a male she didn't know. This led to a meeting 2 weeks later. On the 15th of November, tragically, Kaylee was raped and murdered by the next-door neighbour of the man who she had then gone to meet.
Now, we do hear about these cases, you know, happening all the time, and the fact that, you know, you can't be sure who someone is when they're actually talking to you. I guess that's, you know, it's an internet safety message you really want to get across.
It is, and that's, you've summed up in a nutshell there, Rob, the whole point of the film. The film's called Kaylee's Love Story. It was commissioned by the Director of Communications for Leicestershire Police, or it was his idea. He had the film made. Kaylee's parents were asked to what they thought about it, and they were immediately supportive of it and wanting the film to be made as Kaylee's legacy. So yes, the message is exactly that, and it's in the film. You don't know who you're talking to online every time you go online, and young people need to be aware of the dangers, need to be aware there are people out there who will try and groom them and do things that they shouldn't be doing.
I suppose particularly it's aimed at parents of teenagers, but teenagers themselves as well. It's
aimed at parents, professionals. It's aimed at teenagers. The public screenings are actually only open to people who are aged 18 and over, and we need to stress that at this time. The film will be released in schools. Schools have now been contacted across Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. The film will be released and shown. The intention is that it will be shown to children aged 11 and upwards, but that is with the proper care and support in place in school, and of course with the consent of all parents.
And the first screening is at 4:30, and then they're sort of hourly through the sort of early evening. And how long actually is the film?
The film's only just over 5 minutes long, so it doesn't take very long to watch, but people will have the opportunity to ask questions of me about the investigation and of other professionals in terms of the making of the film. There'll be somebody there from our corporate communications department who was involved in that, and also there will be somebody there from the safeguarding side, from the child sexual exploitation arena, who can answer questions about that. It's
a really dangerous and unknown world, isn't it, for parents of teenagers these days?
It is, and something I've said at some of these meetings is it's a crime that we have become saddled with, and it's not something that certainly I had to think about when I joined the police many years ago now. But it's there now, and we as adults and anybody with a young person in their lives, and we have a responsibility to do something about it. And one of the things we'll be talking about at the meetings is the Cease Pledge, which is all about getting people to commit to doing everything they can to safeguard young people.
Can you explain a little bit more about that, the Cease Pledge?
Yeah, the Cease Pledge, it's a commitment to safeguarding young people from the dangers of the online world, and we'll be asking people to pick up some literature and talk to us a little bit about that, and actually sign a card to say that they confirm that they will perhaps do that little bit more and maybe be prepared to go the extra mile in terms of the dangers to young people.
I suppose it'd be unrealistic, really, to say to parents, don't let your teenagers use the internet because they've grown up with it. It's, a natural way of them to communicate. It's more to guide them, really, on what's best.
It is, and parents, in many cases, have got to work out what's the best way to safeguard their children. And parents and carers have got to work that out, depending on the personality and the use of the internet. You can't prevent young people from using the internet. It's there to be enjoyed, and it's there to help and assist us. It's about using it safely, and it's about getting that message over to young people and making sure that they're aware of the dangers. And if they are and they act appropriately, then the internet's there to be enjoyed, as I've said.
Detective Inspector Simon Shuttleworth from Leicestershire Police, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. So you'll be in Oakham Thursday afternoon, 4:30, and every hour this film is going to be shown. It's free for anyone over 18 to go and see.
That's correct, yes, I'll be there.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Now, it's Rutland Radio. I don't know whether you've noticed through Ketton, there have been serious crimes against a certain building in Ketton at the moment, which is known as the Ketton Hub. The rumour is it's all to do with an exhibition that's going on at the end of the month from the Ketton Nick Club, and I've managed to track them down at Carver Court, and I'm here with Jenny Anderson. Now, tell us, yarn bombing.
Yarn bombing. Well, we saw it in Oundle, some of us, and it was just wonderful. So Mary, one of the other ladies, ex-Brown Owl, went over there and said, we've got to do it. So first of all, 4 trees, we'll just yarn bomb those. And then it just went on. We had to cover everything, benches, notice boards, the bin, everything like that.
And you've put creatures up as well, haven't you?
Oh, yes, we've done all our animals, yeah. Squirrels, owls, and bunting. The bunting's rather good, 200 bunting, yeah.
Now, there's a couple of events, as I was mentioning. There's the horticultural show on Sunday, which actually you've got a secret exhibition here. It's green, brown. I can't really say much else about it.
Yeah, well, all to do with horticulture and trees, really, isn't it? And we've got a lovely teddy bears picnic as well, with all the bears we've done. We won last year with the vegetables.
What, knitted vegetables?
Yeah, knitted vegetables. There's some of them. You see on that wreath over there?
Yes.
There are a few of them. We did them in a big truck, which we yarn bombed, and we came first.
Well done.
Of course, yeah.
So how many are in the Ket and Knit Club?
There's only about 9 of us at the moment.
And you meet weekly at...
Yeah, Thursdays down here, Carver Court, 11 till 1.
And at the end of the month, you've got an exhibition actually at the Hub.
Hopefully next week, yeah, we're getting it down. Just for the library.
What will that consist of?
Well, it's just going to be the tree. I don't think it's going to be the teddy bears picnic. Just for the library, for all the children and people just to go in. Like the yarn bombings, just for fun, really. We should have done it for charity, really, but we didn't think that far. It sort of grew. We just wanted 4 trees, but then people said, oh, we'll do this, that. And it just sort of grew on its own, organically, yeah.
Now, this Sunday morning, you're going to actually be putting this exhibit in. Is that going into the school? Is that where the show is?
Yep, yeah, that's right, yeah. Into the horticulture, into the craft section, yeah.
And then 2 o'clock people can go and see?
That's right, yep. It's on till 4 o'clock, yeah. They have all real vegetables and cakes, everything, you know, like a normal show.
So what's the attraction then, do you think, you know, with knitting?
I don't know. Well, us old biddies like to knit, don't we? And we just like to make fun, like owls and birds and squirrels and things. It's just lovely, really, isn't it? We've done loads of bears and blankets and sent them abroad, you know, to Africa and all that. We've done all that, and we'll keep doing that for charity, really.
Jenny Anderson, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's the Ket and Knit Club.
Yeah, it is.
Fabulous. It's just lovely the way that actually people are driving through Ket, and I've seen so many people actually taking photos of your work.
Really? And when we were putting it up last Thursday night, there was about 30 of us, all with their families and grandchildren, all sewing it. People were hooting and laughing and stopping. We thought, oh my God, there's going to be an accident. But there wasn't.
No, indeed. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio.
Thank you. That's very kind.
This is Rutland Radio.
So just sort of explain this scheme and sort of how you came to set it up.
Last April, I approached East Midlands Ambulance Service with the idea of setting up a scheme from here in Kendrew Barracks, which is in Rutland, and said, you know, we're here with the Army, we've got obviously a skill set to offer, give us the training, the equipment and a vehicle, and let us help to respond for 999 calls.
How much interest did you have from fellow soldiers for the scheme?
Once we got the go-ahead from East Midlands Ambulance Service, we put it out there and did presentations to various messes within the camp and was inundated with applicants.
How much training does it require to become a first responder?
It was a 5-day course, which is called the First Person on Scene Intermediate level. But obviously we do a lot of military training as well beforehand. We're all medically trained for various operations around the world. So the bolt onto that was East Midlands guidance and training that put us in a good place.
What do you sort of get out of it? What do your fellow soldiers sort of think of it once they go through it?
We've got the vehicle, which is East Midlands, like a responder car. We book on from after work and do 4 to 5 hours, and dispatch will pre-position us in an area where they need more cover. And from that, we respond to, obviously, 999 calls directly from dispatch. And the guys, obviously, they're utilising these skills with the public, which they can bring back to the workforce on operations and exercise all over the world and utilise them skills.
How successful has it been?
Obviously, it's a military scheme. We've always got people knocking on the door, or my door sort of thing, to try and get in there. We've done over 2,000 hours now. We've only been running for 13 months. And in that time, we've done over 1,000 jobs. So, you know, we are appreciated in the local communities, especially when they know we are Army. Not that we're better in any way or form than East Midlands Ambulance Service, because they're the professionals, but it just breaks that little bit of ice because it's something to talk about when somebody's sat there injured or hurt.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio Breakfast Time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, this Wednesday in Oakham Marketplace, well, not only will you be able to see something very special, but you'll be able to hear it probably right across Oakham. I'm here with Paul Beach, who's organised Beating the Retreat. This is something that kind of came back, isn't it? But it's been going for quite a few years now.
We've been doing it here in Oakham, Rob, for the past 10 years, and it's become a very, very popular event. We're very proud that we can still get a band to come, and they seem to relish the idea of coming to Rutland.
So what is Beating the Retreat?
Well, there is a misunderstanding that beating retreat, or the word retreat anyway, is to do with soldiers retreating, when in actual fact it isn't. You can trace it back to the 1500s, and it's really about soldiers retreating back behind the lines, back into camp. And traditionally it was done with drums, and the drummer would stand on the battlements and call them back again from either their duties or whatever else soldiers were doing in the towns. Mm-hmm. Since then, it's progressed from there with a bugle, and that's where it comes from. And it's traditionally sounded at 6:30 in the evening and followed up by a bugler sounding sunset.
So is there a particular reason why it's always this kind of time of year in Rutland?
Well, the only reason is a matter of fitting it in with everything else. We've traditionally done it in September, so really it's a local tradition rather than anything else.
So the band that you have each time is different.
Yep.
Some of the bands are very well known in the various forces. Tell us about the one that you've got this time.
Well, we've got the Queen's Division this year. Now, the Queen's Division comprises a number of regiments. They support a number of regiments, but traditionally bands, of course, are stretcher bearers, and they work in the field. So consequently, you will see a lot of these soldiers that will turn up, they've got medals, and that's because they've served on active service. The Queen's Division supports the Queen's bands, and they can either be little ensembles or they can be part of the mass bands.
And this is absolutely free for anyone to come along to. And I know you extend the invitation to anyone who's listening to literally come along, see this, be part of it, take some photos, and enjoy it.
Yep, absolutely right. It is in aid of ABF, the Soldiers' Charity. So we will encourage people to pop some coins into the box for us. And that's the main point. Of course, the Lord Lieutenant of Rutland, Dr. Lawrence Howard, he supports it. And of course, our chairman locally for the ABF, the Soldiers' Charity, is Jennifer Lady Gretton. And she will be here as well. So there is a lot of support that we get, not just locally here in Rutland, but from outside of the county as well.
So that's this Wednesday night, 6:30, and it'll be in Oakham Marketplace, and you can see the beating for the retreat. Is that how you'd say it, or beating retreat?
It's beating retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's the band of the Queen's Division, 6:30 this Wednesday night in Oakham Marketplace. And Paul Beach, thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
on Rutland Radio.
No, thank you very much.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Looking forward to this Friday when Stamford Corn Exchange is transformed into the music of David Bowie, and Paul Henderson is the man who plays David himself. Now, I know you do a lot in the sort of Ziggy Stardust era, don't you? I mean, what a time really to be bringing back the music of David Bowie following the loss of him in January.
Yeah, it certainly is. It was a very sad loss at the beginning of the year. I was in Berlin at the time, playing for the release of his new album, and obviously his birthday. A couple hundred people playing the Hansa Studios, and of course on the Monday morning back at the train station, the news broke. So it was a real shock for a long time. But yes, we've played a lot of Bowie's hits from the 70s, the 80s as well, so there's a few costume changes as well. And we are still doing a lot of the Ziggy Stardust material from the early 70s, but we're also working right through all the other hits that people tend to forget about as well.
Doesn't it amaze you that, actually listening to his music all these years on, it still sounds so contemporary?
Yeah, a lot of it still sounds as fresh today as what it did then. I think he always had this ability to record this music that seemed timeless, because it didn't fit at the time and didn't fit until a few years later. And it's the same when he did Tin Machine. Nobody understood what's all this about. You listen to it now and it just seems very fitting. But he's always been like that.
So from your point of view, is it a time really when there's a real appetite for his music, particularly, since the loss, and people are appreciating him more than ever?
Yeah, obviously we've played a lot of festivals this year, and we play theatres around the country. We noticed it a lot. The attendances are shooting up. I mean, some of the shows have just been complete sellouts, and luckily enough to play to thousands of people at some of these big festivals around the country. It's great to see, because I never realised how many people actually love David Bowie's work, Even people that are not David Bowie fans, there's always one or two songs that, I love that song, because he's changed his music and style so many times. There's something there for everybody, I suppose.
And tell us the name that you go under for this show.
The name is Aladdin Sane. I took the name because it was the first Bowie album I ever got when I was a kid. So we've been going with that for years now.
So if you'd like to go and see Paul and the show Aladdin Sane, the sound of and vision of Bowie, it's this Friday night at Stamford Corn Exchange, $15.50 for adult tickets, £15 concessions, and the show gets underway at 7:30. And I guess people really are transported, Paul, to the sound, the look, the whole thing.
Yeah, we try to cover different areas of David Bowie's career, No two shows are the same anymore, because sometimes I'll just pick a different outfit and, so nobody's sure what they're going to get.
So it's an individual show. If you've seen it before, then you'll see a different one this time.
You probably will, because compared to last time, yes. Yes, you will.
Paul Henderson, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. That's this Friday at Lad Insane at Stamford Corn Exchange.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. So there were 204 children who actually completed the Summer Reading Challenge at Stamford Library. There were over 400 who actually signed up for it. What's your name?
Amelia.
Now, you also won a special prize, didn't you? You won the draw.
For last year's, I won a £50 book token.
That's a lot of books then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So was the Summer Reading Challenge quite hard to do?
Well, I was trying to do long books, but then I thought, no, I should do shorter books.
That's very sensible. Do you remember any of them that you read?
I remember 3 of them. One of the library books that were here, and 2 of my Pokemon comic books.
So, have you started spotting Pokemon in Stamford as well?
Yeah.
Where are they? Do you know where there's any good ones?
Yeah, in Peterborough. That was my strongest Pokemon before I evolved a Pidgeotto into Pidgeot. And it was a 290 Porygon, and then I powered it up, and now it's a 344 CP one. And my best Pokemon's the Pidgeot at 488 CP.
Wow, I think I've got a lot to learn about Pokemon by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So, why do you like coming to the library here? Because, you know, there's loads of children,
to read.
But loads of children are here just doing exactly what you're doing. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was saying at the start here, of all the different things you could be doing, you could be playing on a tablet or a computer or a phone, or you could be watching TV, but children still like reading books, don't they?
Yeah. I especially like reading books of games I like playing, like Dragon books because I like playing Dragon games, Pokemon books because I like playing Pokemon games.
So they tell you a bit more about it?
Yeah, I have quite a few of the annuals, and it has a lot of information like the types, Mega Evolutions, and lots of Pokemon that are in them.
You could be the Rutland Radio Pokemon expert. What do you think about that?
Maybe someday.
I think so. Well, well done for completing the reading challenge, and thanks for talking to us on Rutland Radio.
Yeah.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Leah Rickard. I'm the library team leader here at Stamford Library.
Now, tell us about the Big Friendly Reading Challenge. It's been inspired by Roald Dahl's centenary.
Absolutely. This year, the theme for the Summer Reading Challenge was Roald Dahl. It was called The Big Friendly Read, which of course appealed to the children widely. It was absolutely fantastic, and the schools were absolutely on board with it. So I got invited to go and talk to the children at the schools, and we've had an absolutely huge take-up. We had over 400 children join, and up to today, that you've been presenting all these certificates, Rob, we've had 205, I think now, 205 who finished their reading challenge, and they've read 6 books over the summer holiday. So we're really, really pleased because we've broken our record. The children are pleased that they've read the books, the parents are pleased, and the schools are very pleased. So it's great.
Isn't it wonderful, really, that, you know, with all the distractions there are, there's still the traditional ways of them getting into their fancy world of finding out things, and, you know, books give so much to children.
It is all about the child's imagination and the pleasure of reading. We like to stress this when we say, you need to read 6 books over the summer. We say, well, you must enjoy it, so pick something that you like the look of. It doesn't have to be long, it can be short, and anything that fires the children's imagination is an absolute winner, of course. It is great. And as you say, there's so many distractions nowadays, but there's nothing quite like watching a child sitting there and just picking a book and opening it and getting lost in the book. It's fabulous.
And the legacy of Roald Dahl as well.
Absolutely, and of course there's a museum now that children go to as well, and he is is everlasting, really, and the wonderful illustrations by Quentin Blake as well. It's instantly recognisable. Quite a variety of subject matter as well to appeal to a lot of tastes.
Have you anything else to add about today?
Well, I want to thank Rob for coming along. All the children were very thrilled to come and receive their certificates, and on such a horrible rainy day as well. We were amazed at the turnout. I think 72 children came to pick up their certificates today. So we're very, very pleased, and thanks again for coming along.
Absolute pleasure. So anyone who hasn't actually picked up their certificate for listening to the radio now, they can call into the library and actually get their Summer Reading Challenge certificate.
Absolutely, yes. During the week we're expecting more children to come along after school, or maybe next Saturday they can come along and they can just finish off all the sort of paperwork that needs to be done, and they'll get a certificate as well.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Now, in 2012, Claire Lomas made history by walking the London Marathon course in just under 2 weeks in a bionic suit, which she called Ted. She's used that bionic suit again to tackle the Great North Run. She completed it yesterday morning. Claire has been really the focus of the world's media, and it's wonderful to have her on Rutland Radio. Now, Claire, so many people know you locally and have supported you, maybe saw you at Burley, and actually went up to the Great North Run as well. I know you had a lot of locals actually on the finish line with you.
Yeah, it was incredible to see the finish line. It was a very welcome sight. There was times this week where I really didn't know if I'd get there. When I did the London Marathon, I felt quite confident that I would, because I didn't have a finishing day. I just thought I'll keep going as long as it takes, whereas this has been very different.
Now, to explain how this suit works, you cannot actually feel your legs, the bottom of your spine, and basically somehow you manage to impulse this suit to put one leg in front of the other.
Yeah, the suit doesn't just walk on its own. You have to get every step out of it, so it's physically demanding, and I can't feel the ground beneath me, so I have to tilt my pelvis for each step. It's not only physically demanding, but mentally I have to look at my feet to know where they are. I wouldn't even know which foot was forward. And also every bump on the pavement, I need more tilt if it's bumpy. So I'd push on my arms to get my weight over so that I can get the foot clearance with the foot that's taking the step.
Now, for the Great North Run, so many people say it's one of the greatest races in the world, but it's also one of the hilliest.
I thought it was going to be a bit flatter, to be honest, but everything in the suit feels like a hill, and it was tough, and that's the difference. Walking in a room where people generally use a suit is very different to being out on the pavements, and they kind of feel like mountains to me, but it's a challenge, but it makes it more rewarding when you've completed it. And everyone here's been amazing, like the Great North Run team really welcomed me, and all the local people and the donations coming in for the Nickel Spinal Injury Foundation as well.
Now, you started this last Wednesday, and you plan to finish it Sunday morning before the first finisher, so you get the huge crowds, so obviously, you make the biggest splash you could, and that certainly happened yesterday.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was, also, I've had a few rubs with the suit on me, so one morning I had to go to A&E and just have that dressed, and I've actually got to go back there today to have it looked at. But it's those kind of things that could have stopped me. I knew I wouldn't stop unless I really had to, and if it was really a decision made for me because of an injury. So it's 5 tough days, but to finish on the last day was just incredible.
Now, you had your family up there, you had your husband Dan, your daughter Maisie, and I believe there's another member of the Lomas family on the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we've got another one coming, which will be due in February. So that made it even tougher. Like, the training's been very difficult. It's been difficult for me to get out in the suit because I've been really sick. So it was all a bit rushed in the last few weeks. I'd been doing a lot of hand cycling to keep myself really fit, but it's not the same as being in the suit. So, it wasn't the best lead up I could have had.
Now, if people would like to sponsor you, they still can, can't they? And actually raise some more money to help spinal research.
Exactly. It's for the Nickel Spinal Injury Foundation, and they're doing incredible work to cure paralysis. And it's not just for injuries like mine, but neck injuries, which lost the use of their arms, different again. So I feel a bit fortunate to be able to do what I can do. All the donations really help, and that's the reason I did it as well, to raise awareness and money for the foundation.
So if you search for Claire Lomas GNR on Just Giving, or go to claireschallenge.co.uk, you can find those details to donate.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And Claire Lomas, thank you very much for joining us. You must be just completely exhausted, not only from all the work over the last 5 days, but all the interviews you've done for the world's media this morning.
Yeah, no, that's it. I'll be ready for a rest, but I've got lots of speaking events coming up where I take the suit and planning our own we did one this year, half marathon, which is in June, and it went well this time. So, yeah, I can get stuck into things like that over the next few months. And, yeah, still plenty to do and still be raising money.
Claire Lomas, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio this morning. Huge well done from everyone listening for that amazing victory and, the fact that you actually managed to do it just as you planned.
Yeah, no, it was tough, but yeah, managed it, so really chuffed.
Claire, thanks very much for joining us on
Thanks,
Rutland
Rob.
Radio.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani, talking today about something that we've spoken about in the past, actually, but not for a while, so it's nice to revisit it and find out exactly what's going on at the Melton Furniture Project. With me this morning is Angela Dawson and Roland Fisher as well. Thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Let's talk really about, firstly, Angela, how long you've been going, because it's been quite a while, really, we've been in contact, isn't it?
And I say thank you for letting us come back and talk about the Furniture Project. We've been going about 30 years. We started off in some council garages and we're now in a home which is 6,000 square feet, purpose-built warehouse. We're really pleased about the way the project's gone. And it's open to everybody to come along and access very, very economical priced furniture.
Now, you're funded by both Melton and Rutland councils, and this is where it kind of gets complicated. Roland, could you explain what happened where you thought maybe the Rutland service was under threat, but actually it's okay now?
The problem is you can only fund and cover the area that's funded by the council. Mm-hmm. It's unfair that Melton Council would start to fund other council areas. And also, if you've got furniture that has to be taken to the refuse centre after, you can only take it to the refuse centre where the furniture came from. Yeah. If it comes from Rutland into Rutland, from Melton into Melton.
Now, Angela, I know you'd like to talk about some of the agents that you work with and the referral side of it. So tell us a bit more about that.
Well, part of the funding that we lost was for the reuse statistics. But the Rutland County Council looked into what we actually do in the community and they felt that that was important enough to reinstate our funding. And what a referral agent is, it's somebody who knows of a person or family which is in real need. Bridge, Bernardo's, disability team in Oakham. The price is set and they can access everything they need to fill their property. So if the Rutland County Council give them a house or flat and it's empty, they can come to our warehouse, which is on Park Road, and they can pick what they want and we will deliver it free of charge to their properties, and there's no limit to what they can have. And all the council or the other referral agents have to pay is a set amount, which is very reasonable.
So what about anyone who's maybe looking to replace their furniture and thinking, well, actually, I'd love to give something to the Melton Furniture Project? Is it quite simple to do?
Yes, and we love people that do that for us. All they need to do is give us a call. We collect free of charge. There is some reasons why we can't collect. The item has to be clean and serviceable, no woodworm. Cots have to have set gaps between the rails. So we are dictated by the EU guidelines on furniture. But yeah, just give us a call. The van will pick up free of charge. We cover the whole of Rutland. You might have a couple of days wait, and we only come into Rutland on a Tuesday because we try and come out of Melton on a Tuesday because it's market day. Mm-hmm. And the funding only covers our activity really one day a week in Rutland. So we will deliver again. Anybody can come, the general public can come and access furniture from us. And again, it's free delivery over £30 if you spend it. And we'll deliver and collect all on a Tuesday.
So I guess in these days of being told that we must recycle and reuse as much, I mean, I suppose, what you do is very topical and very much needed, in our area as much as any other.
Yeah, we're very proud of the project. We're very proud of what it stands for and what it actually does. We hope it's educational. We hope that it gives everybody the opportunity to reuse. I mean, that is our first objective, is reuse before recycle. So, as I say, these items can be passed straight on. They go into our warehouse, they're stored, they come, they're selected, and they're delivered.
And when can people go and actually view? Can they just literally drop by?
Normally between 9 and 1. But I have been having problems with volunteers. I just haven't got enough. So if there's anybody listening to us and they want to do some voluntary work, they can come and drive the van, work in the office, do some warehouse work. And obviously if they're looking for work, we can give them a good reference, give them work experience, and hopefully put them on the trail of finding employment.
So what's your phone number up in Melton?
It is 01664 410 380.
Roland, have you anything else to add that you feel we should be getting across this morning, just talking about the project?
Only the fact that we try to open and keep open from Monday to Friday. We have tried opening Saturdays as well, but we really do need more volunteers. We need younger volunteers in the warehouse so that we can sort the furniture out better, make certain that it is up to standard, that it's fit for use and fit for purpose.
So if you'd like to get involved with the Melton Furniture Project, that same number, Angela, if you give us that again.
It's 01664 410 380. We're very informal. It's a very simple form. You'll chat with me, as you know, my name's Angela, and we will get you started. There's a small bit of training, which is just watch a video for health and safety, but other than that, and we don't sit you in a classroom, which a lot of people, including myself, don't like. We will buddy system you, so we'll put you with somebody that knows the job, and they will actually show you what to do and work alongside you until you are capable of doing that job. And you will also get a certificate when you get to the stage where you know the job inside out. So again, that can be taken on to an employer, proving that as far as a furniture project is concerned, you have reached a level where you can do it. I mean, retail is something we do a lot of, and that is very useful. We have got 6 people back into employment last year, and they've all gone into retail.
Excellent stuff. It's the Melton Furniture Project, and if you'd like to find out more, 01664 410 380. And Angela Dawson and Roland Fisher, thanks for joining us and talking to us at Rutland Radio today.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
It's Rutland Radio Breakfast Time. I'm Rob Pisani, and this morning talking about the Evergreen Care Trust and their work, and maybe something that you could help them with. And Rosie McLennan's here to tell us more. Now, you've got an event at the Borderville Sports Centre, the home of the Stanford Daniels, in a week or two. Tell us the big aims of that event and who it's open to.
This event is to fully launch the Lighthouse Project. It's open basically to businesses, community groups, and any individuals who want to be part of becoming what we're calling beacons of our communities, which is across Stamford, Bourne and the Deepings. It's been hugely supported by Cummings in Stamford, and they did a lot of research on this. So we built various beacons who will obviously be at this event, who've already benefited from being part of this partnership on a tax benefit, but also on a networking benefit. We're not talking necessarily about cash, we're talking about in-kind contributions, companies being able to offer us their expertise, perhaps their facilities. You know, they might have a room that we could use instead of having to actually rent a room. Warners in Bourne have already printed us 40,000 leaflets, for instance. Key Publishing have done our design for us. We've got various venues that are very happy to host our leaflets, etc. So there's lots and lots of ways in which you can benefit. At this particular event, we've got Tom Highmarch coming, who's the director of Duncan and Topless, and he's talking about giving is worth it. It's amazing how many companies don't realise that even if it's just an in-kind contribution, that can be offset against tax. This is a great way of companies and individuals and community groups getting together, launching little beacons all over our area and basically sustaining the wonderful work of Evergreen Care Trust.
So in a nutshell, you're looking for businesses, community organisations to work with you in some way, either to offer services, offer support, to host your leaflets, to bang the drum, to raise funds for you as well, of course.
A lot of groups and golf courses and, all sorts of different companies do a fundraiser once or twice a year. And in exchange for becoming a beacon, whether you're large or small, it really doesn't matter. But we will make sure that we sort of look after them on sort of social media, etc., on all of our PR, and support our beacons wherever we possibly can.
And in a nutshell, tell us what Evergreen does. It's a name that so many of us know, but I bet we don't know half of the things that you do.
It's amazing, actually. When I talk to people, I go, oh, yes, I've heard of Evergreen. And then when you sort of drill down, they don't realise some of the services that we do. I mean, 80% of everything that we do is free of charge. So we now have around about 600 members, many of which are elderly. As is often the case, some of them suffer from loneliness, and we provide a fantastic befriender service. We also have various different community meal centres around Stamford and in Tyne-Bourne and the Deepings, and that gives an opportunity for, sort of social occasion. It's great food as well, I have to tell you. We've got things like sort of advocacy, hospital to home. We also have a fantastic home support team who are constantly busy. We do everything we possibly can for our members, and whatever we can't actually provide ourselves, we work in partnership with the South West Care, and basically that includes 12 other similar organisations to ourselves but offering slightly different services. So we take all our members, we look after them, all our staff are fully aware and also act as ambassadors for Evergreen, and they will provide our members with every single service that they need, really.
So if people would like to get in touch, I guess your website's a good port of call, not only for the fact that actually you'll be able to see the various different things that you offer.
Yes, definitely. The website's great. It's very, very clear. And also, thanks to Warner's, we've got lots of lovely new leaflets. So they could give us a call on 01780 765 900.
Now, this event that you've got on Thursday, the 29th of September at Borderville, that's a chance for people to pop along, to hear from those who already work with you, and maybe if, say, you're the person who looks after the charity contributions at your workplace, or whether if you're from a community group and you think there's something you could offer Evergreen, it's ideal to pop along.
Oh, it really, really is. As you say, to learn from the existing beacons why it's benefiting them, and also for us to share information with them. Use this as a fantastic networking, because this is going to be one of 4 events each year, and it's going to be extremely beneficial to local business and community groups.
So if you'd like to find out more, get in touch with Evergreen 01780 765 900, and this event is Thursday the 29th of September between 6 and 8:30 in the evening at the Borderville Sports Centre, Ryle Road in Stamford. If you see the leaflet around, it says Lighthouse all over it, and basically it's your chance to connect with those who help Evergreen and maybe offer something either in kind, in cash, in people, to actually help what you do.
Yeah, definitely, in a nutshell.
Rutland Radio.
If you give me your first names first, please.
Josh, Ellie,
Hannah.
Happy birthday, Ellie, as well. You're having a good day.
Yeah.
It's amazing how I know these things. And your 11th birthday.
Mhm.
And that means you were born 89 years after Roald Dahl was born.
Yeah.
What do you know about Roald Dahl?
That he was born on my birthday.
What else do you know?
That he was a really good author and that children loved his books.
He liked making up words as well.
Do you have any favourite books of his?
I quite like the BFG.
Any reason?
Well, it's a really nice book to get into because it's quite funny at some parts as well. Mine's Matilda because it's quite funny how she gets her own back on the other people that have done stuff to her.
I think I've got a few, but one of them would definitely be The Witches, because I like all of their plots to kind of kill the children and everything.
So how many people dressed up, do you reckon, as far as the school today? Most people?
Probably most of them, everyone.
What have you come as? I can see your Mike TV badge there.
Yeah, I'm Mike TV from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Who are you?
I'm Matilda.
I'm Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Well, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Has this been a fun day to actually do something really different?
Definitely.
Would you say Roald Dahl is one of your favourite authors?
Yeah.
the weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
So we're here at Ryle Academy. Can I have your first name and the character from Roald Dahl that you're dressed up as today?
I'm Danielle and I'm dressed up as Matilda.
I'm Ray and I'm dressed up as James. I'm Ollie and I'm dressed up as Charlie.
Now, what do you know about Roald Dahl?
We know that today was his birthday and he was going to be 100 today.
Can you imagine being 100 years old?
Yeah, he'd be like really old and like it'd probably be hard to move sometimes.
So, dressed as James, what do you know about James and the Giant Peach?
Well, he has these bug friends on a peach, and that's basically all I know. I haven't read it, but I did a bit of research on it.
And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory apparently is the most popular Roald Dahl book.
Yeah, because he met Willy Wonka and he got the golden ticket from like the last chocolate bar, and people were like thinking it was a fake, but it was really real.
And you've got the golden ticket that you're wearing just there.
Yeah, I got it off.
So what sort of things have you been up to at school today?
We've been doing some activities, like we've just come from playing a game outside, just like when they said Mr. Trunchbull, we had to do like different signs for Mr. Trunchbull and the different characters Roald Dahl has written in his books.
So what do you know about Miss Trunchbull then?
She's not a very kind person. She locks people away in a turkey.
What's been your favourite thing that you've got up to so far?
Probably the revolting rhymes that we did from like different rhymes and stuff. We watched a few of Roald Dahl's ones and then we made our own. That was really fun.
Roald Dahl's really clever as far as words, isn't he?
Yeah, because he makes them up. That's what he's known for, like making his own words and putting them into his stories. So, yeah.
Right, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio.
This is Rutland Radio.
Right, we're here at Ryle Academy. Can I have your first names, please?
Daisy, Thomas, Holly.
Now we can hear all screaming and running in the background. What's happening here?
People are playing a game.
What kind of game is it? What's it all about?
So, like, there's a Roald Dahl book on each cone, and you have to choose a cone you want, and the teacher says what book, and you're out.
Right, I see. So whichever book she doesn't say is the last group to stand.
Yes.
Get what you're saying. Do you like reading books?
Yes.
What's your favourite book?
The Twits.
Is it a Roald Dahl book?
Yes.
So what's that about?
Two ugly people who are twits.
And what's your favourite book?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Wow. Any particular reason?
Because it's chocolate.
That's a very good answer. Tell us about your green dress that you're wearing. It looks like you might be a witch or something.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you do any spells?
No.
Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Have you had a good day?
Yes.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So it's the new College Stamford graduation ceremony, and here with Jade Etherington. Now, this, I guess, takes you back a few years, not too many.
Yeah, about 4 years ago to my own graduation at Lincoln Cathedral. Yeah, it was a very wonderful day.
And speaking today, I guess, you've got a lot of words of wisdom over your short time really in work to pass on.
Yeah, it's really the start for these students here today. They've achieved the next stepping stone into what they want to achieve, so it's really good to come here and speak to them and kind of motivate them and show them that you might have an idea of a career and hopefully you'll get into that, but it's okay, things change, everybody has a different journey and that's okay, and look what happened to my journey. It was something that I didn't think that would come true, so it's quite exciting for these students who are here today.
So tell us what you're up to now. Are you teaching?
Yeah, I'm teaching at Thomas Deacon Academy, so I'm a geography teacher there, and I still do ski, but not competitively, just recreationally. Every half term, I'm out in the snow.
But you still always have your silver from Sochi, won't you?
Yeah, my 3 silvers and my bronze medal is on the windowsill somewhere, and it's always nice to celebrate, especially with the Paralympics being on this week and last week. I'm watching them and supporting those guys and the summer athletes, and then obviously it's not long until the Winter Games again, so it's just about 2 years, so still in contact with the team, and hopefully I'll be involved in that games in some sort of way.
Excellent, Jade Etherington. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Lovely to see you here today.
That's all right. Thank you very much.
Highlights from the past 7 days. The Rutland Radio podcast.
Police Community Support Officer Diana Freeman.
And tell us broadly, could you describe the incident that happened just a couple of weekends ago?
Yes, at the beginning of September, we had received a report an attack on a flock of sheep, which were down by Turtle Bridge, which is the Jurassic Walk between Barradon and Haringworth. 5 sheep were actually, because of their horrendous injuries, unfortunately had to be destroyed. 5 other sheep are still under ongoing veterinary treatment through the horrendous injuries which they received. Recently, a witness has come forward who saw some loose dogs in the area at the time. These dogs were not seen in the field with the sheep, but it was in the same location.
Responsible dog owners often hear that they should keep their dogs on a lead, and when you've got open countryside, it's all too easy to just be a bit too relaxed, and this, it seems like, could well be the result.
Absolutely. But I'd like to point out that it is an offence to allow a dog to worry sheep, which also includes attacks and chasing sheep. Police have the power to seize the dogs if the owner is not present, and of course farmers also have rights if dogs are seen worrying the sheep.
Is this the first incident in your experience actually locally?
It is just recently. Last year we received a few reports of dogs worrying sheep around Rutland Water. But if you look at Facebook and Twitter pages, other police are reporting attacks on sheep throughout the country.
So it seems to be on the increase nationally.
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Are you still looking for witnesses, for instance, to what happened actually at Turtle Bridge?
Yes, if anybody recalls seeing anything at the beginning of September, roughly around the 4th of September, which was a Sunday, please ring Rutland and Leicestershire Police. We reference incident 493 of the 7th of September.
You must be really shocked having seen this and actually taken the pictures which are being shared on social media at the moment. I mean, it's quite graphic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite upsetting, really. I used to have sheep on my own, so I know the amount of hard work that goes into the sheep. And when I saw the horrendous injuries, I withheld some of them because they were horrendous. And to think the ones that have survived, the injuries they received, were quite graphic. One of them has a huge big chunk taken out of its back of its neck, several puncture wounds on them. One has a shoulder ripped open, and unfortunately, as I say, 5 sheep had to be destroyed because of the injuries.
And also, I know you'd like to just add something really for the next fortnight or so.
Yeah, over the next couple of weeks, the farmers will start to be putting the tups, which are the rams. They will be putting these in with the ewes for breeding time. And the worry is, should this happen again, that the sheep could lose their lambs and abort. So I'm just asking dog owners, please be responsible. Keep your dogs under control and on a lead when walking through fields with the sheep.
PCSO Di Freeman of Rutland Police, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today. Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to